You actually do want to have these people out there that you charge nothing. All you say is, if you find value from what I'm doing, you tell people about it. It's not that hard of an exchange. And it's so fair. If you find value, you'll tell people about it. They might have done that anyways, even if they're paying. But now you're being clear about terms. Let's talk growing in HighLevel. Yeah?
Let's do it.
So before we started hitting record, I mentioned the slow way and you were like, well, sometimes the slow way is faster than, I don't know, the fast, fancy way.
The long way is the shortcut, right? It's
Yeah.
amazing how often that ends up being true.
Yeah, the long way is the shortcut. And so here's a playbook that I started sharing probably about almost 6-8 months ago. It started with this story. People would be like, man, I've been in HighLevel. It's been 6 months or sometimes a year. And I've been learning, and I still have no customers. 0 customers. And I was like, oh my goodness. And why? It's because they heard somebody say, and maybe it was me, I was like, hey, we run Facebook ads. And like, I got to learn Facebook ads. So they went in the world and they're like, they learn Facebook ads. And they're like, I got to learn autoresponders and I got to learn, AI to set the appointments. And
it's not a small platform, right? I mean, you can get
there's
stuck
so
in
much
learning.
to learn.
That's all you could do is like learn every new release that HighLevel comes out with. And that's all it'd be a full-time job.
Yeah. You could just spend all your time learning. And it clicked that there's another way, there's a better way where if they had at least started with this as one of your first things, you will accidentally grow. And so I originally was calling it the bad marketer. It was like the bad marketer, but it's not about being bad. It's more like newbie. Like you don't have to be against marketing or not like marketer things. But if you're newer and you're not like, I already know how to market, this is the playbook now that I recommend to everybody because I've seen way more success going into this strategy. So like actually on the output of this, one of the first people I told it to, I was like checked in after about 6 months. And I think they'd gotten to about 3 or 4K MRR.
Nice.
I kind of spelled this out as this is in a sense the long route to 10K, but maybe the safer route to 10K and just a defense against the experience of I've had this for X amount of months and I still have nothing. And so here's the playbook. Tyler, I think you had something to add.
Well, it's amazing. I have made this mistake in my career probably 1 billion times where I'm like, okay, that's a good idea, but it's going to take me a year to hit my goal. So instead I'm going to rush and do this sprint. And instead, man, if I just would have, it's that whole adage, the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago. The second best time is now.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those things. I don't care if you're also going to do other strategies.
Yeah. Just plant the tree.
This too, yes, right? And start it now.
That's exactly right. And this is the surprising thing is where it originated is this is subconsciously what I do in almost every, I was looking back, I was like, I think I've done this every single time we've had something because I'm like, man, I would prefer to just plant the tree. Yeah. Like, because there's going to be months where it's like, I'm lazy, I'm not feeling it, whatever it is. Yeah. And I'm not going to go out and do the things that I should do. And so therefore I've just like conditioned myself. And we'll unpack this. I think there's another thing that I realize like I always do. I'll give you that as part of the, we'll follow up with that. So the first part, the framework is step 1 is get unpaid customers. That's it. Get people to use your stuff for absolutely free. Now, it's different than just going out there and giving it away for free because I see a lot of people just try and do like, what this is not is a free trial. That does not work. There's no exchange of any sort. And so usually there's low commitment. They don't invest. They don't even try and do it. And so find 3 businesses you know, like, and trust. Like you're genuinely like, I like these businesses. And you're like, I would like to make these businesses better. I've seen it time and time again. HighLevel is an incredibly powerful tool, and especially to businesses. Like HighLevel's not that powerful if you just give it to like, my mom's a nurse. If I gave it to my mom, she's a nurse, she'd be like, this means nothing to me, right? If I'm trying to think if I have any other entrepreneurial family members. Ooh, I apologize if I'm forgetting someone, but I don't think there's actually a lot in my family. But let's imagine my uncle owns a bakery. If I gave it to him, this could be immediately valuable. Like months in, he would start to see a benefit from some of these simple things. Because you'd be like, I don't care what business you've got. If you got a bakery, like you probably benefit from more reviews. And I'm just going to use it to do this one thing, text your customers, have more reviews. I'd also say you would benefit from just having a list of your customers. Because actually, to that example, how many people own a bakery? And if I was like, hey, could you text all of your customers from last year? They'd be like, no. They couldn't even tell you. They probably couldn't tell you how many customers they've had in the last year. Maybe their point of service like tracks orders, but not number of people who have walked in the shop, right? So if one person buys 10 times, like, I know I got 10 orders, but I don't know if that was 10 people or one person 10 times. So timeless stuff, like having a CRM and like a marketing CRM, like being able to track how many people paid you money is good, but even it's not designed to like do anything with it. They're like, cool, I've got my point of service. I can't use that to get more customers. Where if I had a HighLevel account, like, oh, I could run a reactivation, tell them, we got a new bread, come try it out. And you'd be surprised. A percentage of people will be like, yeah, I want to try it out. So step one, find 3 businesses you know, like, and trust. They don't necessarily know you, but usually like you're one of their customers. And this is how the conversation goes is, hey, I'm thinking of Adam. This is an example of one of the things we did. So Adam was a guy who runs
gym owner.
My gym. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, it was just out of genuinely, I would like to make you better. Like, I'm enjoying this. This is good. And so here's the magic of it. So you go and you say, hey, I'd love to set you up for free with this software I've got. My only ask is, if you find it valuable, can you just refer one person a month? Just send them over for a call. Just connect them with me. One person a month who's, willing and able to pay. And you tell them whatever price is, $297 a month. Here's the funny thing about this process. So your goal is you want to give it away to 3 people with the understanding that if they find it valuable, they could just connect you with one business owner per month. It's not a big ask. What happens sometimes is the person's like, I don't really want to do that. Can I just pay you? Bing.
It's true.
You just got a customer. Your goal was try and give it away. And immediately they're like, I'd rather just pay you. And you're like, that works too. Actually, this was great. That was my ultimate goal, was to get a paying customer. And somebody told me to just try and give it away for free. And it turns out some people are like, I don't really want to refer. Can I just pay you? And you're like, yeah, I'm totally fine with that. That works too. Voila. You weren't even trying to market. Your goal was give it away for free. And you actually got a paying customer without. I'd still say I want for this, formula to work, you want 3 people out there referring you folks every single month.
Yeah, so that person now no longer counts to one of your free ones. Now you still got to go get 3.
Because they're paying.
They're not going to be a referral partner.
You're like, darn it, now I've got a paying customer. So if you do this, you go to 3 people and they're like, can I just pay you? Congrats. Go and try it again. You need to find 3 people, because what happens sometimes is you're like, wow, this is great. And then you stop doing it.
Yes.
Nope. That's the issue. So if you get the story, you're like, man, I went around, I tried this out, Matt, and I got a paying customer. That doesn't mean you're done. You actually haven't succeeded. Like you got one thing. It's like you're like, I need firewood, and I said, go plant 3 trees, and you're walking around like, and I found a already felled tree. Great, I've got my firewood. It's like, nope, that's not what we're trying to do here. Like, congrats, that's an auxiliary benefit, this side benefit, but you actually do want to have these people out there that you charge nothing. All you say is, if you find value from what I'm doing, you tell people about it. It's not that hard of an exchange, but seeding your promoters is such a good, timeless newbie marketer, bad marketing strategy. Like, I'm not even being a marketer now. I'm just saying, and it's so fair. If you find value, you'll tell people about it. They might have done that anyways, even if they're paying, but now you're being clear about terms. Yes. And so if you're not sending people, then I might have to come back and be like, okay, do you want to pay me? Because either you're not finding value, and it's like, that's on me. Also, let's just kick you out of the system. Let's rubber meets the road. You didn't find value, I can offboard you. You are finding value. Your options are pay me or send me people. I prefer you just send me people. I don't want you to pay me anything, or send me people. And so those are the terms. And that's the plant 3 trees of go out, just give it away for free to 3 folks. I have seen the story of people like, oh, I actually got a paying customer because they didn't want to be a promoter. And you're like, how fair and easy is this? If I'm saying, if you like it, if you don't like it, I'm not asking you to lie. Yeah. Like, I'm saying, let me set you up for free. If it's valuable, you tell people about it, and I never want to charge you anything. And so this is the newbie marketer formula. If you extrapolate it out, if you get 30 referrals at $297 a month, you're like, there you are, right around that 9K MRR. And what you'll find too is your goal in your mind, what feels like a win is just cover your costs. Because if you're starting off and you're a newbie marketer and you get distracted. Life happens, whatever it is. But in a year, you're like, man, I pay 1K and I make 3K. Like, it's not the worst thing in my life. It's actually like, it's not like the best thing in my life, but it's not bad.
Yep.
It's a cash flowing asset. I've got it there. And actually, what's interesting, just imagine the scenario. Let's say you get there and you're like, I've got this thing. I'm not really doing much with it, but it does cash flow. People would buy that. Like, you could actually sell that even in a small, little cash flowing entity. You see this with businesses on like a Flippa all the time.
Yep.
You take a SaaS that's like, hey, it nets 20K, and I see people doing exchanges where they're doing 4 or 5x return, because to somebody else, they might be a better marketer. And they're like, well, you figured out some of this stuff. And so imagine and they've got cash, they don't have ideas. Like, that's better to start with than a lot of they're like, I got 100K, I could go buy a franchise, and then I got to like cover the products, the overhead. And you're saying like, well, I got this thing, it nets 25K a year, and it's a software. It honestly is passive. I've got a couple of promoters that send me a couple of referrals. I take 3 sales calls a month and I close, 2 of them, and because they're just direct referrals. Somebody else is like, well, maybe I could do a little digital marketing, amplify this thing. But right away, I would not think it's unrealistic to be able to sell that for 50 to 100K. So you're like, hey, I tried it lazily. I wanted to do something else, but you got something you could actually say, hey, there was a win. I collect this win, even in that newbie marketer fashion, because you focus on profits. Like, it's got a net, it's got to actually generate profits. And I'm also hoping, I guess the other side of it is if you are developing skills, and that's like zoom out, and the big win all the way along, if you can have that perspective of like the real asset you're growing is yourself, acquiring those skills, acquiring that experience, because then the next opportunity, even if it's totally different, if you get a different, more engaging, whatever it is, if your interests change, they're allowed to change. You built an asset and you've spent the year developing skills that you could probably use in a different endeavor. But that's the newbie playbook in a nutshell.
I love it for 2 reasons. I think the first one is that it's probably the most transparent marketing sales relationship, where everything's on the table. Hey, I think this software is good. I like your business. If you like it, then do this, right? It removes so many barriers and just allows the people to really test the product. It allows those people to get those reps in. What is it? Because you still, even if something's free, you have to sell it. You have to explain what its USP is, what it's actually going to benefit the business with. And so it's just a non-stressful sale. And I think those are important reps to get out at the beginning, so that you're prepared when you actually have to sit down with a harder sell.
Yeah.
So I think it's really great. And I like it. What did you call it? This is the newbie marketer playbook?
Yeah, the newbie marketer playbook for HighLevel. That's what I'd say. And I'll leave you with what do I got? One recommendation, one side benefit to extend upon the other benefit that comes from this, and then a quick story in terms of history. Because I think people are surprised. So they look at where people are at and like, that's not how it started.
Nope.
And so like I'm saying, like, I realize this is exactly what I've done. Every single venture is planted some trees, because I would prefer, like, even in small ways, like, you got to get somebody to take a chance on you, like, no matter what it is. And so I'll start with we'll start with the side benefit. Sales is in marketing sales. Ultimately, it's a transfer of belief that's happening, right? You go on the page, and even if you're selling on a page or in a call, you're saying, this is great. And I'm trying to help that other person, new stranger, believe this is great. This is valuable. They believe this is valuable. It is very hard to believe something when you haven't experienced it. It's possible. Some people, like, they can just, they hear from other folks and they hear it and they have a level of belief. But I say the strongest belief is when it's incorporated with all of your senses. It's also the easiest, right? And so this is where these free customers give you that belief. So let's say one of them's the baker, and now you're talking to a business who's like, is this going to be good for me? And I'd be like, well, the baker, we turned it on. They had 12 reviews, and in the last 3 months, they now have 50 reviews. They went from kind of an obscurity, sort of hidden in the nonsense, to now looking like the best bakery in the city. And we've seen their organic traffic has lifted. And that's not like rocket science. Like, if you look like you've got higher reviews, more people perceive you to be the best. And so then they want to try out your goods, right? that transfer of belief, me say like they're me saying like the software is going to be good for you, and then believing it is very compelling when I'm speaking from, well, this is what it's doing for someone else. I'm not like hypothesizing that this is valuable. I'm saying, well, John over here is having a ton of value from it. Even if John is your uncle, right? But you're like, this bakery, this was the effect from them. And so
Yeah.
when you have those conversations, sales get easier when your transfer of belief is like, you're unwavering. People can tell. You're like, I'm not speaking from this might help you. I'm saying I have a strong inclination this is going to help you because I've just seen it and felt it and experienced it. And this doesn't feel like a huge transfer there. So one, your belief gets stronger even with free customers. You get better at sales.
Yep.
The second, in terms of this is like my advice around here, is start with the lowest pricing you're ever going to go with. It's just some people, they overthink pricing too much. And I'd say your first customers should be rewarded. So I'm actually telling you, your first price is free. Your first folks, they pay you nothing. Congrats. They got the best deal possible. Your second folks, pick a price that it's okay to go as low as you're willing to go, because your early customers, the value to you is not actually money. The value to you as a business for the first customers that you get is the testimonials. Those testimonials that they'll give you are going to make the experience where your first 10 are incredibly hard and your next 10 are so much easier. And your first 10 might pay half the price of your next 10, but the difference is 10 testimonials versus 0 testimonials. And so it's just a helpful perspective shift there is your first price should be the biggest no-brainer it's ever going to be. Now, in HighLevel, we've got restrictions around terms and pricing there, but I'll give you a quick story. I said I promised a story. When we launched HL Pro Tools, the price was $7 lifetime deal. $7 lifetime deal. We changed the price after day one because there was no advertising, no marketing. I was like, how in the world did this ever? It was like people were like waiting for it, like waiting links. I didn't send out an email, nada. I think there was, it was like, I don't remember what it was. Maybe like the link got shared organically. It's like someone stumbled on it, found it, because we were kind of like, should we do this? Should we not? And we had just a no-brainer price to validate, do people even want this thing? Think about that. It was a nonsense. In hindsight, like this was a nonsense price. We went from $7 lifetime done to $197.
How many people signed up at $7?
I think there was about 10 folks.
That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot if you think about the current pricing.
Well, that's why I was like, oh my gosh, we got it. We priced this wrong.
You meant to plant 3 trees, you planted 10.
That's in effect what happened, right? And so that's another way you can kind of do this. This was on levels there. I'm just like giving the story and the perspective there is it validates your ideas. The worst thing to do is to move forward with a bad idea. And this is why it's okay to have a no-brainer price just to validate that that's a good idea. Or as I mentioned, your real value is not that they're paying you money. The real value is they feel like this is so incredibly valuable that they would give you a testimonial, a video testimonial, ideally, so you could use it and distribute it in many different formats. And so I think that was it. That's all I promised. Good. So we have
this is really good. This is
shift, the pricing advice, and then a quick story there. So plant your seeds. It's okay to run the Newbie Marketer Playbook, and then consider from a pricing perspective, it's okay to start off with the lowest price you're ever going to go, because that also builds a lot of trust. When the price goes away, the price goes up. There's integrity there, and it cultivates a good buyer audience.
Yeah, my only add-on would be, I don't care where you're at in your marketing. Don't be discouraged, or in your business, don't be discouraged by the name Newbie Marketer Playbook. This is a great thing to do at any time with a new offer, with a new, like any time, and especially, I'm a big believer. I always say, like, I like to take care of friends and family. Strangers can pay full price, right? Like, and it's also just kind of a nice, positive thing to do to people in your network. It's a gift.
Should we rename it? I'm like feeling like his Newbie Marketer. I went from bad marketer, then I was calling Newbie Marketer. You're all experienced it. I might change it. Like now I'm going to call it the Farmer Marketer.
Oh, that's so much more of a positive term, right?
Okay. You guys experience it. If you're here with you're going to see, if you've seen some of the stuff, I've already had like Newbie Marketer, bad marketer, and now I'm going to call it the Farmer Marketer. And
this is much more law of the harvest, right? You reap what you sow, instead of like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm new. It's his long game. You're smart. You're just being
Play
smarter.
play the long game, plant some
Yeah.
seeds.
Farmer marketer. I like that.
Farmer marketer. Okay, we'll see if it hits, but you heard it here first.